Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Who you with Kirk? I'm out. Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With Kirk, though. Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With Kirk, though. Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With Kirk, though. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to Speak On It with Who You With Kirk, though. Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With Kirk, though. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to Speak On It with Who You With Kirk, though. Welcome to Speak On It with Who You With Kirk, though. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. Welcome to Speak On It. 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 Welcome to Speak. 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 Who you with, Kirk, dog? Who you with, Kirk, dog? Want to welcome everyone to the show. Hopefully, y'all had a great weekend this past weekend. I definitely did. Enjoyed myself. Had to get some rest. But we are back live today. So, welcome everyone on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, Twitter. D Live is in the house. You can also chat live with us in the chat room. And you can also uh, find the time, just like the page, subscribe to it, whatever platform you own, and also continue to click the notification for you can know exactly when we come on live. I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on with my system today. It seems like it's kind of going all over the place. All right, I got it together now because at first it seemed like right before the theme song, it didn't want to come straight on. So I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? So tonight, we're going to hit on a couple of things tonight. Uh, R. Kelly is in the news. So we're going to talk about R. Kelly a little bit. Then Alen Hadzic. Um, he's an Olympic player that has some R. Kelly, allegedly R. Kelly charges against him, but he's still able to run to participate in the Olympics. Then we're going to talk about Andrew Taake out of Houston, Texas. Yeah, I we'll talk about that later, but yeah. So we're going to talk about all of that. Y'all can live chat with us in the chat room. If you are on my personal Facebook page, please take the time to go over to Speak On It with Who You With, Kurt, dog. It's actually at the bottom of your screen. Just type it in just like it is, and go over to the podcast page. For you can also chat live with us. I can put it up on the screen for people can see where you're from and what you're talking about. So definitely take the time to do that. Um, I'm thinking that's all the announcements so far. Yeah, so it came out a couple of days ago that um, R. Kelly is getting ready to go to trial next month. Welcome to the show, Radio Chaos. Thank you for always tuning in, supporting the show. Hopefully, you had a great weekend. Thank you for tuning in. Um, but R. Kelly is getting ready to go to trial next month, and they coming for him. I I want to know, how do y'all feel? Do you think R. Kelly would ever get out of prison, and should he? Um, because I'm just kind of curious about it. My opinion, I don't think he'll see be free again. For the simple fact
they come in with all type of charges against him. Now, if he beat this charge this time, it's going to be interesting, but I don't see it happening. Um, so now, oh, uh, this is from the AP News. Prosecutor aired more claims in R. Kelly case. One involves a boy. So Robert Kelly, radio asked what do the R stand. Okay, I know what you're talking about, but it's actually Robert Kelly. Most people uh, famously known by R. Kelly. So definitely, I know where you going, but we're just gonna call him R. Kelly. That's where most people know him by. But so it came out a couple of days ago that federal prosecutor in R. Kelly's sex trafficking case say he had sexual contact with an underage boy in addition to girls, and the government wants jury in its upcoming sex trafficking trial to hear those claims. Prosecutors aired a wide-ranging raft of additional allegations, but not new charges against the R&B star in a court filing Friday. Jury selection is due to start August the 9th in New York federal court. For Kelly, who denies ever abusing anyone, a message was sent Saturday to his lawyer about the additional allegation. The Grammy Award winning singer is charged with leading what prosecutors call a criminal enterprise of manager, bodyguard, and other employees who allegedly helped him recruit women and girls for sex and photographic and to exercise a lot of control over them. The charges involve six different women and girls who aren't named in a court filing. Now, prosecutor would also like jurors to hear about more than a dozen other people whom the government alleged that Kelly sexually or physically abused, threatened, or otherwise mistreated. Um, Among them, the government say was a 17-year-old boy, an aspiring musician who Kelly met at a McDonald's in December 2006 and later invited to his Chicago studio. After asking the boy what he would do to make it into the music business, Kelly propositioned and had sexual contact with him while he was still underage, according to prosecutor court filing. And when Kelly was about to go on trial on child pornography charges in Chicago in 2008, the same youth told the singer he had access to a jury, and Kelly asked him to contact the jury and vouch he was a good guy. Prosecutor wrote, the filing doesn't say whether the youth um, did so. Kelly was acquitted in that case. The boy also introduced Kelly to a 16 or 17-year-old male friend with whom prosecutors say the singer began a sexual relationship several years later. Kelly also filmed the two youth in sexual encounter with other people, including some of Kelly's girlfriend, according to filing. Prosecutor wrote that the accounts of the boys and other would help show that actual charges were not isolated event and were part of a large pattern. The multi-platinum selling singer born Robert Sylvester Kelly is known for his work including the 1996 hit I Believe I Can Fly and the cult classic Trap in the Closet, a multi-part tale of sexual betrayal. Kelly's sex life had drawn scrutiny since the 1990s, and he currently is facing sex related charges in Illinois and Minnesota. He has pled not guilty. So the question is, do you think um, R. Kelly would ever see the streets again. I think this time, R. Kelly, um, we never know what might happen. We don't know. Um, but it's a good chance that he's done. He's done. And all these allegations coming up against him, I, hey, you do the crime, you do the time. Because these are some strong allegations. And of course, dealing with rape and underage victims is never a good thing. He was in a position which um, he should have done more for himself, and he should have had a team of people to actually uh, lead him the right way and correct him. Now we know with R. Kelly, he's a great genius when it comes down to music, a great artist. I used to purchase his music all the time back in the days. Great, great artist, and seemed like every album got better with each one. I remember when he first came out with 12 Play. Um, a lot of people was kind of upset about that song, and now that I think about it, I understand why. Um, I didn't know the history of it because I was pretty young when it came out myself, but somebody should have been around R. Kelly to help him, to get help for him. Now you beat the case the first time, whatever way, and you felt like you was above the law. And because you felt like you was above the law, now you're in this situation again, but this time I think they're gonna have a solid case against him. Now the chances of him getting out of prison is gonna be very slim. That's my opinion. I don't know how much time he's facing, but with all these allegations and all these other charges coming out against him, um, it don't look good for him. So you may want to hold on to your R. Kelly music because I don't see him coming out with no more. And he's a great artist, a great musician, and I felt like when he came out with um what was the song he did with Mary J. Blige and Kurt Franklin and a couple other people, I felt then R. Kelly probably was gonna start doing gospel because whatever he done, it was great. But just because he's an artist, he's still a man. And because he's a man, we have to look at that first. And we got to hold him accountable for what he allegedly have done, not because he's R. Kelly, but because he's still a man and he need to be held accountable for these allegations. As too many allegations came out, I'm surprised he got off the first time. What they say in the videotape, I never looked at it because I don't partake in that type of stuff. Um, but the thing is, he shouldn't have got off the first time. And for him to do these things, he need to be held accountable. Um, and it's just a bad situation altogether. But you got to separate the two. He's a man first. He's an artist second. And that man, that flesh, would always override that artist. And because he's an artist and he's good at what he done, sometimes people just think they untouchable. But justice got to be served. So do I think he would ever get out of prison? No. Should he get out? Yeah, it's up to the law. I don't know how much time he's facing, but it's no special privilege for him. There shouldn't be any. I don't care who you are. You're doing stuff like that, and especially taking advantage of folks, all because of this artist you are. You're taking advantage of people. Now, I don't know if it's true or not, but it's a lot of stuff that's saying it is true. And at this point, hey, he guilty. He got to be held accountable. Radio said he believed he could fly. Sound like he flew too close to the sun. Yeah, but see, even that documentary that came out a couple of years ago, "Surviving R. Kelly," they actually went into more details because when he started uh, becoming famous, he still hung around the schools. He hung around schools, and he's a grown man, but shouldn't be hanging around kids. Why are you hanging around the high schools? They know who you are. You are Kelly, but you hanging around it like, oh, it's nothing. I'm R. Kelly. Um, so someone should have put a stop to it then. Should have said, hey man, you don't need to you don't need to do these type of things. That's when he was a part of public announcement. Um, so they should have told him, look, man, you don't need to do these type of things. But this the problem that we have in society. A lot of time, because of a person's status, people feel they cannot do these things. But you have to separate. They are a human being first, and they are a artist second. So when you separate the two and look at the human being part of it, then you know exactly what you're dealing with. And it's wrong for what he allegedly have done. Um, and he need to be held accountable. If he's found guilty, guess what? He need to be held accountable. So, and even in this case, um, that's coming up in Brooklyn uh, next month, well, he's still facing more charges, and it's pretty bad. Matter of fact, it was a local DJ out of Dallas that unfortunately she became starstruck, and he came to town. Met him. They started dating, and in surviving R. Kelly, he paid for her to, I believe it was Denver. Don't quote me on that, but flew her to another city. So she get there. I think he came in later. He came in, and she said in the surviving R. Kelly, he came in. When he got there, sat on the couch. Well, he got naked, sat on the couch, and told her, "Do what I do." So the thing is, that's R. Kelly. You have to separate the two. Just because he's an artist doesn't mean he's not a pedophile. He's not addicted to sex. You still have to separate the two. So now, personally, I feel like R. Kelly was one of the greatest artists of my time. But I understand he's still a man. And because he's a man first, you gotta when these allegations come up, you gotta take them to heart. Say, you know what? Yeah, he's a great artist, but this fool messed up. So that's where we are today, and you know, people got to do better. Don't look at your status. That's why when it come down to me, I look at artists like, hey, what's going on? You just another human being just like myself. You put your drawers on just like I put mine on. I don't show special privilege or anything like that. I'm like, hey, I'm cool. I'm gonna treat you with respect. Hey, what's up? How you doing? Keep on moving. If we have a conversation, we do. I don't get starstruck. So that's just me. But R. Kelly need to be held accountable. Um, that's all to it. It's wrong for what he done, and he need to be held accountable. So this actually came out. That's the one I want to read. Um, so we have a allegedly a sexual predator that is competing in the Olympics in Tokyo. I didn't know it, but we have one, and I was wondering why I kept seeing a shadow. I rushed up in here like Eddie Kane Jr. Didn't even cut my lights on. Now y'all can see me better, hopefully. Um, but an alleged sexual predator get to compete at the Olympics while Shakara Richardson is stuck watching from home. Make it make sense. See, I like the Roots because they just tell it it is. If you're not subscribed to their page, definitely subscribe to it because they don't beat around us. Um, so the U.S. fencing is bending over backward to accommodate Alen Hadzic, who's facing numerous accusations of sexual misconduct. And if there was ever a time that I wish I didn't have complimentary courtside seat to white male privilege, it was on Saturday when BuzzFeed introduced me to a guy named Alen Hadzic. Hadzic, an Olympic fencer, should be living his best life after securing a spot as an alternative on the U.S. Olympic team. But according to BuzzFeed, well, six women fencers, excuse me, uh, including two Olympic athletes, wrote to the Olympic community that Hadzic should not be allowed to represent the U.S. because he was under investigation for at least three accusations of sexual misconduct reported to the U.S. Center for Safe Sport, the nonprofit agency responsible for protecting athletes from abuse. His presence at the games, they said, was a direct affront to fellow athletes and put them at risk. And then the Root said it get worse from there. As a result of his alleged behavior in June, Hadzic was suspended from participating in international competition. He then successfully appealed his suspension through an arbitration process that clearly has glorifying flaws and is now somehow allowed to compete in Tokyo, much to his own teammate charging. Allegedly, the severed the allegation facing Hadzic, U.S. fencing, the athlete federation in charge of selecting the country Olympic competitors, created a safe plan to keep him away from women and out of the Olympic Village. He flew in on a separate plane from his teammate. Is staying at a hotel 30 minutes away from the other athletes and won't be allowed to practice alongside women teammates. After he appe- After he appealed those conditions, the entire roster of Team USA fencers signed the letter demanding the restrictions stay in place. We are pissed off that this even a thing we had to deal with. An Olympic fencer who filed the complaint against Hadzic allegedly predatory behavior told BuzzFeed News from Tokyo he's been protected again and again. Imagine spending years of your life spending years of your life preparing for the biggest stage of your career, only to find out that there's an alleged sexual predator in the midst. If this had been dealt with in the way that it should have been, he should have not even had the opportunity to try to make the Olympic team. The fencer told BuzzFeed prior to leaving for Tokyo, he now and now we have to deal with the consequence of having a predator on the team while simulating competing in the biggest event of our lives. I think that's a very unfair position to put us in. I agree. It's also very difficult to accept that while USA fencing has gone to great length to protect Hadzic and facilitate his participation in the Summer Olympics as an alternative track and field next superstar, Shakari Richardson is stuck watching this bullshit unfold from home after a failed drug test, spelled her doom as as has been widely reported at this very site. Richardson tested positive for marijuana during the U.S. Olympic trial in June. She was slapped with a 30-day suspension, retroactive to June 28th, that killed her Olympic hopes, but has always accepted responsibility for her action and admitted that she turned to marijuana use to help cope with the loss of her mother and the unexpected death of her mother to thrive in her sports. I want to take responsibility for my action, the 21-year-old said earlier this month on the Today Show. I know what I did. I know what I'm supposed to do. I know what I'm allowed not to do, but I still made that decision. I'm not making an excuse. Why Shakira never made any excuse. It's painfully clear that U.S. fencing and safe sports are by line his to still participate in Tokyo against even his own teammate wishes. Um, I know that's a lot, but how do y'all feel? Do you think he should be able to participate? Because you you're saying marijuana is worse than sexual allegations against you. Marijuana not going to help you win a game. It's not going to help you perform better. But here it is, a sexual predator is able to participate in the biggest game of your life, the Olympics, and they doing this like it's nothing. They're protecting this guy. Um, and I know at the beginning I said allegedly he have some R. Kelly ways, because R. Kelly is allegedly a sexual predator. It's no other way of putting it. Um, and then for this guy, his own teammate do not want him on the team with them. That to me is a stain, another stain on American, because on America, for the simple fact we see all the racist stuff going on. We seen what happened January 6th, and we see how they are giving them a slap on the wrist and act like it's not a big thing for the crime or the terrorist attack that they did, a domestic terrorist attack that they did on Capitol Hill. So here it is, he's being protected again. He shouldn't be there, because what if somebody don't know? What if it's another team from another country staying at that same hotel and they not aware of it? And what if he decide to attack one of them? Who will be held responsible? Yeah, he shouldn't be there. That's with anything. They would do that. Radio said if they think he can win a medal, these teams seem to look the other way. Matter of fact, I think he's only an alternative. I don't even think he's just a backup just in case. So unfortunately, that's the problem we have here in America. They go by the status of a person. They don't look at the the root cause of what this man have done. Why are you protecting him? Why are you turning your back on him? That's just like January 6th. The way that they're sentencing these folks, it's like they saying to the hell with everybody else in America. They was patriot to do a domestic terrorist attack on America. But what they failed to realize in the fines that they are giving out, we're still going to have to flip that bill. The bill from all the damage that was done, the cleanup, the renting of the fence around the white Capitol Hill. Excuse me. So yeah, we need to hold people accountable for their actions. I don't care who it is. What's if it's wrong, you do the crime. You do the time. And you do the crime, you do the time. That's all to it. I don't care who you are. But for your own teammates to speak out and telling them he shouldn't be on the team. To me, it's like y'all saying, we don't care about them. You have all these ladies speaking out. Signed the letter asking y'all, please do not let him compete. Don't let him compete. So you're saying, oh, he's 30 minutes away, but he appealed that. That's not going to make a difference. In today's society, 30 minutes ain't nothing. It also went on to say it also sent a very clear message to the Olympian that while COVID-19 presents an obvious threat to their safety, an alleged sexual predator in their immediate vicinity does not. Hopefully, the World Anti-Doping Agency rules related to marijuana use will be amended in the near future so that other transcendent talents aren't sidelined for some bullshit. But in the interim, it's painfully clear that those aren't the only rules as there need to of an overhaul. So the thing is, you prefer to let a sexual predator in a playground. Now they don't say they don't say if these were grown women, underage girls, or anything like that. It don't make a difference because they both are wrong. And because of that, he shouldn't be there. He should not be there. For the simple fact, what if somebody in that hotel don't know what this man have been accused of doing? Not saying that he's guilty, because once again, I don't know that man. I never knew his name until I ran across the story. But still, you have a lot of allegations against you. And because of those allegations, you should have been set on the sideline. You shouldn't be there. And hopefully, they decide before the competition to get him up out of Tokyo. because he should not be there. This man have all these allegations. He appealed and got it overturned, and they allowed him to go. That's saying to me, like radio said, it's all about the medal. Medal. That's all it is. If they feel like he can win a medal, oh, we'll turn our back, we'll turn our head, we'll overlook it. But hey, I don't know. So that's pretty jacked up and pretty bold. Jacked up and pretty bold at the same time. Because here it is. They overlooked the fact that Sakara Richardson actually said she messed up. She know exactly what she did. She took responsibility for her action. She done it. And like she said, she knew what she needed to do, should have done, should not have done, and she broke the rules. So she took responsibility. I feel like that's um, a really uh, good person to be able to say, you know what, I messed up. It's my fault. Nobody forced me to do that. And even the fact that she had just found out her biological mother passed, who don't understand what she going through. You losing a loved one, but you also having to try to compete. So I'm like, yeah, um, he shouldn't be there because what he's allegedly have done is way more worse than smoking a blunt. Um, they've said for many years marijuana slow you down, and it's not an enhancer. I agree with you. They say I think weed would make you perform worse, not better. I don't know if you've seen it's a new viral video going out. Somebody done put together. Miss Risky sent it to me earlier, and somebody done put together, and um, I guess it's like people smoking a blunt, passing it to each other, and at the end they give it to Sakara Richardson, and um, of course it's not her, but give it to her, and as she's running, the smoke is just coming out. But the thing is, at the end of the day, she took responsibility for what she done, which is great. But this guy should not be in the Olympics. Not only is it look at all the females at risk. Because the thing is, if he go over there and say, "Oh, I'm an Olympian, I'm here for the Olympics," well, guess what? That's all he have to say, and people is gonna be like, "Oh, you here competing?" They're gonna draw to him, not knowing this dude background, not knowing that he have all these allegations against him as a sexual predator, but also his teammates do not want to compete with him. Um, if you are on my personal Facebook page, please go to Speak On It with Who You With Kurt Dog. It's at the bottom of your stream. Speak On It with Who You With Kurt Dog, and it will come up. Um, and then you can live chat with us in the chat room, and I can put it up on the stream just like I did with Radio Chaos. So you can definitely participate in the show like that, and uh, and chat live with us. Chat live. Follow the page also. Um, so I know we. I don't understand it, but I know we talk about um, the terrorists that actually went to the point of, I guess they decided to tell on themselves. Again, um, we have one a couple of months ago that actually uh, went on a dating app, went on this dating app and brag about what he did on January 6th. So, of course, he was arrested. But then we uh, had a guy last week that actually did the same thing. He's out of Texas. Um, he's out of Texas, and um, he decided to go on a dating app, and he bragged um, about what he did. So I don't understand these type of things. Um, you did you did the worst thing you could do in America is attacking America, and now you're bragging about it. You're bragging about it, and since since you bragging about it, well, guess what? Now you locked up. So I was trying to find the right story because the one I pulled up, I said, no, it's not. It's gonna be interesting, but it's not like the roots. Like I said, if you never uh, gone to the root, check it out because they keep it 100. So U.S. Capitol Writer tell on himself to a dating. I'm not saying the name of the site, to a dating site match. Get arrested soon after. Um, See, I told you, radio, I cannot read what you're saying while you're talking about maybe he was trying to appeal to women who posted they were looking for a moron to date in their profile. Well, they played along real good and found out enough information, and so now he went to jail. So you'll be hard pressed to find a group of people more excited to incriminate themselves everywhere. Incriminate themselves. Everyone that ran up into the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. The Washington Post report that Andrew Tate of Houston faced various charges, including assaulting police officer after he admitted his participation in the deadly attack on America on Capitol Hill to someone he matched with on a dating app. His case is similar to Robert Chapman, who was arrested after he too bragged to a someone he matched with about how he made his way into Sanctuary Hall. From the past, the unnamed uh, user as if Take had been near all the action. Take claimed he was pepper sprayed by police after gathering to protest the presidential election result, according to a July the 21st criminal complaint. About 30 minutes after being sprayed, he said of he said of a selfie showing him wearing a gray beanie and a dark gather across his face. Safe to say, I was the first person to be sprayed that day, all while just standing there. Um, his match turned the conversation over to official, according to the Post, along with string shots to take location on January 6th. The official did some digging and found the tape was caught on camera using what appeared to be a metal whip and pepper spray to attack law enforcement officers. So not only are dudes out here lying about their height and professions on dating apps, but now they're telling stories about how they spent their time during one of the most shameful event in American history. Gotcha. The Post report that while taking Chapman was charged for their roles in the Capitol riot, other uh, app users have been flagged for similar discussion. It's weird. Most people who commit a crime usually go on the low for a while. A call that Vicom repair dude from Breaking Bad to vanish them. But as ABC News has reported, these people can't seem to keep their mouths shut online. Maybe it's because they assume that based on how others who have been tried for storming the Capitol have so far received weapon sentences. The same will happen to them when they face their charges. That's possible, and it wouldn't be very surprising. I guess we'll see how it goes. As for Take, um, dating app match, the Post reported that the two never got to meet face to face. Um, yeah, that's whew, I don't know. Uh, that's pretty jacked up. You bragging about something for attacking America. You bragging about it. But we seen the type of um, we seen the type of uh, sentences these folks been getting. We reported last week the guy received 8 months, 8 months sentence for a terrorist attack. Um, I'm gonna have to pull it up and see. Um, Hold on, I'm trying to see if I can find if he's out on bail or not. Talking about the guy from Houston, Andrew Quentin Take, and he's the ninth Houston arrested in the wake of the riot. So trying to see if he's out on bail or if he's in jail because he should be in jail. Um, Hold on. Want to see if they gave him a slap on the wrist and let him stay home. Um, duh, 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 duh. I'm glancing through stories. Um, so far, have been 535 individuals have been arrested in nearly all 50 states for crimes related to the breach at the U.S. Capitol, including over 165 individuals charged with assaulting or impeding. But I'm trying to see if they let him out on bail. Hopefully they didn't, because that tells if they let him out on bail, that tell us a lot. Because if that was any other terrorist, you would not be allowed to leave jail. Um, Let me see if I can do it like this. Um, so I'm trying to see, because I don't think he should be out on bail. That's just me. Um, Maybe I'm harsh like that. I don't know. Um, uh, they did say he spent at least 30 minutes inside the Capitol building. And said that he was peacefully standing there and was the very first person to be sprayed, but kind of find out he had that whip and assaulting officers. Hmm. He hasn't enter a plea just yet. Um, he was arrested on Friday and charged with several federal crimes, including felony assault on a police officer, civil disorder, and obstruction of congressional proceeding. Um, so they said he's actually person, the ninth person. I think one of us said the seven, but they do not say if he's out on bail. So we'll have to look more into it. To the show, T-Cal. See you snuck up in the build. Welcome to the show. Thank you for always supporting the show. Um, um, I don't know. I'm gonna have to pull it up and see. Matter of fact, I do it in just a minute. Um, Radio said my theory um, is Jacob can't handle his male pattern baldness, so he made up this character to have an excuse to wear the headdress covering up his receding hairline. See, I'm glad I did not read that earlier. Um, but hey, after a certain age, I'm gonna just say after stats went out, I started losing my hair. That's why I went to a bald head. Been wearing it for a long time. Um, Let me see, because I haven't heard about him in a I haven't heard about him in a while. I'm sorry if you're just not tuning in. Let me fair warn you, we are live, so sometimes things come up, and we may have to do some research. We are live on the show, so um, uh, hold on. I think we got an update. Oh no, he lost his third appeal, his third bid for jail release. So as of, I don't know what's going on with this mic. As of right now, he's still in jail, and this was updated on July the 7th. He tried three different times to get out, and they said no, 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 no. And that's what they should have been doing to all of them, not letting them out. So, um, so as of right now, from what I can see, he's still there. He's still in jail. Um, so I'm gonna say this because people during this time. Well, actually, I'm gonna talk about this other story first. Here's a local story. Um, so we talk about how the crimes are on the rise and all of this. Well, this past weekend, um, over in Fort Worth, they was having a get together or something, and one person got upset, left, came back with a gun. When they came back, um, I believe he just started shooting at him, ended up killing one person. Well, some people that was at the party, they stoned his ass to death. Um, it, so they threw stone at him and ended up killing him. They don't know if he fell and bumped his head or something, but whatever the reason was, they allegedly got justice from him. With that being said, people, please um, take a deep breath. You get upset, it don't have to be like that. Just walk away from the situation. That's something that a lot of people don't want to do is walk away because they feel like it make them weak. Actually, you're the better person if you walk away. Now, if your life is threatened, that's completely different. But if you walk away, you are a bigger person. Just walk away from it. But also, I want to talk about two more things before we get up out of here. Um, the coronavirus is still on the rise. The numbers continue to go up. Um, Even though you've been vaccinated, still protect yourself. Protect yourself. It doesn't make a difference who you are. This virus do not discriminate. Um, I believe it's another stream coming behind Delta because I believe it's and someone have tested positive for it now. Um, um, I believe it's Colombian, if I'm not mistaken. Um, it just came out, I think, on yesterday that it's coming up. Now, unfortunately, um, we have a governor that don't care about the people of Texas, and we have a lot of other governors throughout this country that about the don't care enough about about our country, because here it is. You have California that have put their mask mandate back in place. You have, um, I believe it's Louisiana is talking about doing the same thing, but they're taking a time at doing it. Well, we have Governor Greg COVID Abbott that is refusing to change the mandate. Um, he also mentioned last week when school start here shortly, he signed a couple of months ago that kids do not have to wear school and don't have to wear a mask at school. But as the numbers continue to rise, he said he's not changing that. They don't have to wear a mask. And my thing is, um, I had to go by a store earlier, and I'm in there, um, and as I'm in there, the cashier is talking with a police officer, and the cashier tell the police officer, you know, they're gonna come back and buy up all the toilet paper and paper towels again, um, and talking about, I think it's all a lie about this virus. I'm telling anybody, if you think this virus is not real, talk to someone that have experienced it. Talk to someone that have lost a loved one because of it. And then decide if it's important. Because right now, I seen this news, I think it was out of Arkansas, earlier this month or the latter part of last month. This sister, her second battle with coronavirus. And the reporter asked her, are you going to take the vaccine now? She said she didn't know. I'm thinking about it, but I don't know for sure. What people got to realize, you got to break that cycle. Like I said, I was one of those that wasn't sure if I was going to take it. I said at the beginning, I'm not going to take the vaccine. But when I've seen how many people have taken it and the side effects that happened is very minimal. I talked to people that had took the vaccine before I did, and I asked them how was it. I asked the question about which one did you take? How did you feel after you took it? And I got a different answer from each person. It affects everyone differently. But taking the vaccine is not a guarantee you won't get COVID, but it can lighten up what type of symptoms you get. So, yeah, do your research. I'm going to say it's better to have it than not to have it, but it's your choice. It's your choice. And because it's your choice, it's also other people's choice to decide if they want to be around you. Because if somebody having an event or something and you don't get that invite to their home, it's their choice. Don't get upset. It don't mean they don't love you. They don't care about you, but they don't want to put no one at risk. So what I'm saying is you got to make your decision. And hopefully we don't know enough about this vaccine. We don't know enough about this virus, but we know that numbers continue to go up. And because the numbers continue to go up, you got to ask yourself what's more important. We don't know if it's going to work or not, but for the ones that is still on the fence, it's like Russian roulette. You don't know. You take that spin, you don't know what might happen. So I'm just asking people to make a smart decision, not only for you, but also for your loved ones. Because guess what? If something happened to you, they the ones that's gonna have to deal with the aftermath. And because the shutdown last year, a lot of people is not back at work by choice, some of them. And some people don't have the insurance no more. So if something happened to you, guess what? We're gonna see GoFundMe accounts selling fish plates, trying to get you laid to rest. Take this serious. I don't care who you are. I'm not saying get it or don't get it, but take a strong consideration about it because it may help all of us. And the more people that don't get it, um, the ones that don't get it, you're at a bigger risk. Because right now they're saying those are mostly the ones that are dying, the ones that don't have the vaccine. Take a look at it like that. And radio, you are right. I'm sure Abbott do have the vaccination. He been vaccinated, and not only that, a lot of these people that have spoke out about it, what they're not telling you, they've been vaccinated. They've been vaccinated. How you think Trump got healed so quick? When he was in the hospital, when he got it, how you think he got healed? He took the vaccination. He ain't gonna come out and say it, but he did take it. I'm quite sure Greg Abbott have did it. Greg Abbott don't care because they get their good. They're gonna get the good stuff. With us, we're gonna get whatever they give us. They probably have a stronger portion than we do. I don't know. I'm just saying. But Greg Abbott gonna be taken care of at our expense. But he's not concerned about you. Radio said that's a bad strategy, killing off your own politician supporters with misinformation. Yeah, people got to realize it's a lot of lies going on about about this vaccination, about the vaccine and the virus, and because people saying, "Oh, I can just tell them whatever I want to." It's not real. It's not real. But people don't care about that. You have to make the right decision for you. You have to make the right decision. So, other than that, I want to tell y'all and remind y'all, I know we're not in a election season right now. Well, I take that back. It is some places that had elections going on, runoff for a special election or something. But for everybody else, if you're not registered to vote, this is the time to get registered. Get registered to vote now. For when the elections do come up, you don't have to try to get ready. You're already ready. So get registered to vote and then go out and vote when it's time. Let your voice be heard. I know here in Texas, we have a lot of stuff going on. Greg Abbott up for reelection. We know how he is. We already know. It's time for him to go. It's time for Greg Abbott to go. He done way too many things, put our lives at risk, and he also changed his executive order to benefit little Becky. So it's time for him to go. Dan Patrick, time for him to go. He want to put up $1 million for anybody who find voter fraud in this past election, and so it's time for him to go too. Um, and we already know about um, Ken Patson, all his uh, criminal cases going on. It's time for him to go. He never should have been reelected, to be honest with you. Matter of fact, we need to find out what's his status on uh, the uh, board on his license, because there he's being investigated by the state bar association, and so we need to find out about that, see if they're gonna yank his license or not. um oh, I know this ain't, this some bull. uh Hold on, I know he did not. Let me read over this real quick. Yeah, this just came out today. um uh okay, now this came out on the 23rd. Ken Patson announced a historic 26 billion agreement that would bring desperately needed relief to Texas, who are struggling with the opioid addiction. I don't see anywhere where it say anything about crack cocaine. Oh, my bad. That don't have nothing to do with certain folks. But that opioid, that's one of those um, other type of folks that get hooked on that. And so he signed the agreement for $26 billion. And how long have crack cocaine been around? Where's the help for that? Where's the help for homelessness? But when it see, this is the problem that we have here in America. For the simple fact, um, we have certain group of people, and kind of like I say on the show all the time, we have black laws, white laws, black laws, white laws. A lot of people that use opioid are unfortunately Caucasians. Now it's other race that use them too, but majority when it becomes a problem, when more Caucasians are getting addicted to it, then it become a crisis, and they want to provide help. Now, crack cocaine, unfortunately, it have attacked the black community. Now, hold on. But it's also other race that is addicted to crack cocaine also. And not only that, a lot of people that sells crack cocaine, majority of the time is mostly blacks. Now, here's the key, because for years you will get a harsh sentence for crack cocaine than you would from cocaine. Well, you can't make crack cocaine without cocaine. So, but now this opioid, they want to provide $26 billion um, to bring relief for it. Let's talk about the crack cocaine. Let's provide relief for that. Let's provide um, help for the homeless. Let's do that. Oh, my bad. We're talking about Kim passing. That's only for a certain group of people, a certain group of supporters of his that he want to help out. But then during the start of the pandemic last year, he helped out his homeboy and signed to stop foreclosure to help him keep his property. Everybody thought he stopped foreclosure and eviction for them. Mm-mm. He did that to help his homeboy out. Then abuse of power. See what Ken is trying to do, because he's up for re-election next year too, and his time is up. His time is up. All three of you about to lose your job. Your time is up. And you're not the only ones. Board of Education is up for re-election next year. Now we got to remember, Greg Abbott don't want the true history of America taught in Texas schools. And I believe it's a couple other states that following in his footsteps. So yeah, it's time to make a change. Your time is up. We need to vote every election, not just the presidential election. Our local and our state elections are very important for the simple fact our local laws influence the federal laws. We have to do better as people. We have to say, you know what? I don't care what's going on. We need to vote. We need to vote every election. I know Dallas County just stopped the jury duty because of the rising numbers. I think we had a Orange, which is next to the highest number. A lot of hospitals are filling up due to this virus. So we need to vote every election. We need leaders that's going to be for the people and not for themselves. And like Radio said, I'm sure Greg Abbott been vaccinated. Now, some of y'all supporters need to reach out to him and ask them, hey, have you took the vaccine? Have you taken this vaccine? So yeah, we need to vote. This is the time to get registered to vote. Get registered to vote and get out and vote. And when jury duty starts, you get that sermon, show up to jury duty. Don't try to get out of it. Show up. Marcella said local and state election are very, very important. We need to get rid of these people who doesn't try to help the whole state or city, not just certain people. And with Ken Paxton signing this agreement for $26 billion for opioid, really? What about crack cocaine? What about heroin? Well, heroin is black folks use that too, but not a whole bunch of them. What about drugs, period? But he only gonna target the drugs that deals with his community. And that's the type of leader we don't need. It should be about everybody. So as far as I'm concerned, hey, um, we don't need you. It's time for you to go. Radio said the politician are like a guest that comes to your house and won't leave. No, I'll be like, look, it's time to go. I start walking around. And if we eating or whatever, I done cleaned up the kitchen. I start cutting lights and TVs off. It's time to go. If it wasn't prearranged for you to stay all night, it's time to go. And if they don't get the hint then, and I done told them, hey, I'm about to go to bed, it's time to go, I started getting prepared for bed. So either you're going to get the hint one way or another. And so when you see me walking around butt ass naked, you understand I'm going to bed. So, oh, that's another thing. Because some folks, they'll come to your house and they don't want to help do nothing. Now, luckily, I have, whenever we've had something at the house, a lot of people, they come in, they like, hey, before they leave, they make sure the kitchen clean, whatever. They don't just leave and be like, oh, thank you, I'm full, and they leaving. No, they don't do that. So I have a good group of people that do that. But some people, you put them to work, they get out. And then you have these certain folks. Um, yeah, I'm probably gonna get it for this. You have certain folks that want to show up and um, come in and haul a wheelbarrow to their vehicles, fix a to-go plate before they ever eat. Then they turn around and decide to eat and fix another to-go plate, and then they leave and they got enough food for a week. Which I'm like this: at least allow everybody to eat before you do that. And if I say, hey, y'all take some food with you, then you take it. But you come in with the mindset, I'm gonna fix me a big wheelbarrow of food and take it with me before anybody else eat. Which I feel like that's just damn right disrespectful. For the simple fact, you disrespecting me because I'm like, why? Um, No, maybe that's just happened in my family. I don't know. Uh, I'm just saying, I've seen folks do it a lot. Um, but it, some people just don't have enough respect. And I'm like, hey, don't do that. If it's when before everybody leave, I'm gonna be like, hey, y'all take this food because we ain't gonna eat it all. We just won't eat it all. If you're just not tuning in, you have been listening to Speak On It with Who You With Kurt, though. We are live, so you can chat with us in a chat room. Um, you can we talked about several stories tonight. Talked about um, R. Kelly, um, his trial getting ready to start. We talked about Alen, the Olympic player that is up under investigation after multiple accusations came out of sexual assault. But he's still able to compete. And then we also talked about Andrew Tate. Yeah, that's the guy from Houston that bragged about taking part in a capital attack on a dating app. Oh, I don't know why they keep doing it, but hey, keep snitching on yourself. Uh, keep telling folks what you did and see how that work out because it's not going to end well for you. But then again, it probably ended well for them because we seen where the guy got 8 months last week. Then the guy the week before got 6 months and 2 days, and he was out in 2 days. He already spent 6 months in jail, and they gave him time served after the 2 days. So we see how this is going to play out. And that all stem from the point because those elected judges are in those position that doesn't have um they judging them. I'm gonna say they judging them by the color of their skin because here it is, we all know if that was Black Lives Matter, it wouldn't go down like this. It would have been a different headline. It would have been a mass killing as soon as they came up the steps. Because the thing is, we've seen when Black Lives Matter was out there before. They had National Guard and the police department lined up on the steps. So just imagine if that was a Black Lives Matter protest. They never would have made it to the top of those stairs. It would have been a killing, would have been a bloodbath. But because they not black, they getting a slap on the wrist. Um, Radio said, I've seen people go to the fridge, put 3 bottles of beer in their coat, and open one to drink when they getting ready to leave. Once again, I don't uh, hang out with people like that because and I tell my friends if they come over, I'm like, hey, um, if I have some beer, I'll be like, hey, I have X amount of beer. That's cool, and um, that's cool. So you can bring something. I always keep a little alcohol here, and I let them know. And my friends, they're like this because I don't drink a whole bunch, especially this time of the year because it's too damn hot. But uh, my friends, they will bring beer, and I'll be like, hey, take it with you, take it with you, and they'll leave it. I'll be like, dude. So whenever they come over again, I'm like, look, you don't need no beer. I got plenty of it. So that's the type of friends I have. But I've hung around folks that done things like that. And unfortunately, that's a sad situation. I've always been taught when you go to someone's house, especially for dinner or something, and I'm real big on this. Somebody invite me to come over, I'm gonna be like, what I need to bring. Oh, you don't need to bring nothing. No, I have to bring something. I don't care what it is, just tell me what I need to bring. Um, and that's just the way I was raised. I always would bring something, and I've always been told if you take something to someone's house for a dinner or something, drinks or whatever, you leave it there with them. I guess my friends raised like that too, because they always leave the beer. I'll be like, oh Lord. So, um, so that's just the way I was raised. I always take something. Uh, Mick Debates, welcome back to the show. It's been a while since we seen you. How many people was prosecuted when they marched on DC? Are you talking about as with Black Lives Matter or what you're talking about? MLK? Yeah, let us know exactly what you're talking about if I can respond the proper way. Um, if you're talking about Black Lives Matter, or yeah, explain that a little bit more in detail, for then I can actually respond back to you properly and go from there. So, but yeah, you definitely. I hear you, radio, and I have no problem with it because I've always believed. Um, my mom, she was a giver. I've seen people come to my mom's house and they would eat up a storm and then try to get them to help clean up. Oh, I gotta be here, I gotta be there. And they gone. And I used to get upset and my mom said, don't worry about it. They came, they ate. That's all that's important. They got a meal. So I'm like, okay. But it used to run me hot. I'm like, look, you come over here and eat and then distance yourself and don't want to be around everybody. No, but that's just me. I'm a people person, so um, trying to see if Mick is gonna respond back to his comment before we get up out of here because uh, yeah, you do. And I'm like this because anybody who I socialize with, they know they can have pretty much anything in my kitchen. I don't trip because I look at it like this. Whenever I go to their home, they the same way. They the same way. They like, hey, whatever, uh, whatever we drinking beer, shots, whatever. They the same way. They don't trip on that. Um, I'm like, hey, so that's the way you have to be. When you have true friends, they're gonna treat you with the upright respect, and they're gonna have you come over and treat you like you're a guest. And I'll be like, okay, I've been over here all the time. We're gonna we're gonna do our things. What if it's drinking beer? Now I'm gonna tell you, I don't drink a lot. I don't, but when I do, um, uh, I must have been pretty stressed out or something. No, but no, I don't. Especially summertime, I don't drink that much because it's so hot, and I don't like to sweat. But right now, we in 100-degree weather. It's hot. Mick said, I always catch you at the end. Ladder laugh, working too much, May through June 2020. So are you talking about in DC? Okay, you asked in DC. I'm not sure how many exactly was arrested, but since you are talking about DC, I know for sure Trump, when he came out the bunker uh, the next night, he came up with the National Guard and caused them to um, reroute the protests for he could go and hold a Bible that he never touched before upside down and never read before upside down for a photo op. So, as for how many people arrested, I don't know. But I do know for sure that they call BLM a terrorist group. They have called them a terrorist group. But occasionally, you might hear a couple of people call the riders, the ones that attacked Capitol Hill on January 6th, you might hear a couple of people call them a terrorist group. But you won't hear that many of them. You won't hear a lot of lawmakers calling them a terrorist group, but a lot of them was outspoken about BLM calling them a terrorist group from Trump on down. So when it's like that, you got to just call it like it is. BLM is not a terrorist group. And people don't understand that because you are having a protest, you don't know who's there for the cause and who's not there for the cause. And unfortunately, with BLM, it was a lot of people there not for the cause that was causing a lot of issues. So when you're dealing with something like that, yeah, you don't know. I don't know exact numbers of how many people been arrested during that time, but I can see if I can pull it up. Um, like I said, we are a live show, and we can do research while we're on the show. Um, and I'm gonna see. Uh, if you just not tuning in, you are listening to Speak On It with Who You With Kirk Dog. Um, we are live, and Mick asked the question about how many people was arrested in DC from May through June 2020. Um, so let's see here. See if we can. There was 449 unrest related arrests. So 449. Hopefully that answered your question. It was 449 from May to June. And with DC, with speaking of DC, with the terrorist attack on January 6th, um, where we at 7, 8 months? Uh, about almost 8 months. So yeah. Radio said when I was young and we had a party, I did see a guy who took the whole bowl of macaroni salad to eat at a barbecue. Uh, hey, that had to been some great macaroni. Was it a macaroni salad? Oh yeah, you said macaroni salad. That had to been a great macaroni salad. Um, not having National Guard is what allowed the January 6th people to get done. Well, the National Guard is one, but also when BLM were doing a protest, they ordered the National Guard ahead of time. And then on top of that, they also had the Capitol Police there, the local police department there, and they was all lined up on the stairs trying to prevent anything from happening. One thing um, about my community, black people, we're not gonna necessarily cause issues, but we will march for an issue and protest for an issue. But to go out and just randomly do damage, let me rephrase that. Everybody is not gonna go out and basically act a fool because that mess up the whole cause, the reason why we're there. So Um, so I don't think with the National Guard being there, it would have been safe. But Trump didn't even want to call the National Guard. Matter of fact, he wasn't the one that called them. I believe it was the mayor of DC that actually called. But also, Trump didn't make a statement until after the National Guard was called in, and that's when he told the good people to go home. So, what type of leader will encourage people to go down there and take over to stop this type of voting? And that's what Trump did. Some people are going to say, well, he didn't say it. He said certain key words to entice them to go down there to try to overthrow our election. Um, Mick said every riot in Portland was caused by those not for the cause. Exactly. A lot of them was. Matter of fact, it was one guy, uh, and there was a brother. He was kind of like the leader for the that port. Oh, that's in Portland. I'm thinking Seattle. In Seattle, the brother that was leading that cause, I think later on he was arrested for stealing a car or something. So allegedly arrested for stealing a car. Yeah, I say allegedly because I don't know if the charge is stuck or not. So yeah, um, a lot of people that just because it's a protest, it's nothing wrong with protest. It's nothing wrong with marching. It's nothing wrong with it. But when you start destroying property, that's a problem. It's a problem in many ways. Now, and unfortunately, a lot of these situations, it was always somebody who wasn't a part of the cause that caused the problem, and that's what we have to be mindful of. If we're gonna do something, yeah, we need to let our voice be heard and take a stand on it, but we also need to take a stand at the polls. We also need to vote. We need to encourage people to get out and vote to make a difference. Um, said, could you imagine if Hillary pulled the stunt during the certification when she lost with her husband Bill calling for a trial by combat? It wouldn't have happened. It would not have happened. So I can't imagine that. Hillary took a loss like a woman. She didn't argue. Said, hey, he won. Now she's sitting back with a big bowl of kettle popcorn, hoping when Trump go to jail, if he go to jail, as he continue to fall, people around him continue to fall. Somebody is going to come out and and take and tell all. Somebody will. Oh, man, they would still be talking about that today. And you know what? If she had done that, the problem is every time somebody mentions something about January 6th, they will bring that back up. They would say that would be worse than what Trump did. That's what they would say. So yeah, it's a difference. At the bottom of, at the end of the day, It should be about the people of America. And people have to realize, um, they have to realize any decision that an elected official make, it doesn't matter what party you are a part of, it's going to affect each and every one of us, either for the good or for the bad. Mick said Hillary went on a 3-year world tour of excuses and blame. Uh, I think after the election, Hillary just she probably did a little bit. I don't know if it was 3 years, but um, hey, but she lost. She just said she lost. That was fine. And Trump used how Trump won. He talked about so much the emails. He talked about this so much, had people believing everything he was saying lock her up, lock her up. Soon as I get in office, I'm gonna lock her up. Yeah, that been a while. It been a long time, and Hillary still not locked up. And the way it's looking, he have a greater chance of being locked up than her. That's the way it's looking. So I'm just saying it's um just one of those things. It's hey, you can't holler wolf and then you doing some stuff wrong. It always come back to bite you. You're gonna be exposed about what you're doing wrong. And what Trump did for those 4 years was wrong. Some people may not believe it, but I feel Trump is the reason why we're still in this pandemic. Okay, people gonna say, well, it's Biden watch now. Yeah, but we could have had it prevented. We could have had it prevented. So, hey, it's gonna be some more stories we'll talk about on tomorrow because I seen another story. I want to read more into it before I talk about it. So we're probably gonna have that on there tomorrow. Um, Representative Rand Paul or whatever his name is actually calling for them to investigate Dr. Falcon and um, for charges. So we're gonna go more into detail about that. I have the opportunity to do more research on it tomorrow, so we'll know. Al Gore got ruled, I guess, by the Supreme Court in the recount. He said while he disagreed with the ruling, he respected the institution of the Supreme Court and took his laws. Yeah, but it's different when you're dealing with a big old baby like Trump that sit up on the toilet texting all the time. So um thank you, radio, for my little Trump head, Baba head. Um yeah, so that's when you're dealing with someone who get upset because he's asked the hard question and you are the leader of the free world. Well, we can't even say the free world no more. Um, you are the leader of you was the leader of America. But when a reporter asks you a question, you get up and storm off. Now, take it. He did this many years ago. I seen a video a while back where uh, he was in an interview and he didn't like what the reporter asked, and he got up and walked off. Said it was fake news back then. Consider not one country in the world is out of this pandemic. How could America have prevented ours with different leadership? Well, I'm gonna say what could have happened because we had a team in place. Had a team in place. They could have came up if that team was in place. Could have came up with a vaccine that would have been more effective and could have gave it to the other countries that could have prevented it from spreading more. And then on top of that, see what I didn't realize, I believe it was Moderna, they had been working for years on a vaccine to prevent something like this. And just so happening when it happened, they was pretty much at the tail end of it. So that's how they came out so quick with it. But if we had the team in place to prevent a pandemic, that would have been the way we could have actually probably could have been out of this. We don't know for sure, but we would have had a better chance of defending ourselves against this virus. And now, because that we have certain leaders that put money before life and rush to open things back up. Trump, a businessman, a reality star. Um, he wanted to open it back up, but Greg COVID Abbott, that's what he did. Open Texas back up. Now they're saying Texas, Mississippi, and I believe it's Louisiana are the ones that are really causing this virus to continue to grow because of the restrictions they haven't put in place and they don't want to put in place. And that's a problem. You're going against what the doctor is saying, and you're playing Russian roulette with all of our lives, and that's why we don't need them as leaders. Um, T. Cal said that bobblehead cracks me up. Way to go, radio! Yeah, radio sent me that bobblehead. So thank you, radio. Al Gore had class first politician I heard in person. Yeah, Al Gore, he was pretty good. Um, I feel like he was. Um, he just he didn't pull it off. Every country failed to stop it. Ours is no different. Yeah, it's no different. But I think if we uh, so I can't be reading his message because it come up on my monitor first up at the TV screen. Um, every country had failed to stop it, but America have always been when an outbreak happened, we're normally the first one to come up with a remedy for it. Majority of the time, we are the ones to come up with a way to prevent it from spreading, and we give it to other countries to keep it from spreading from them. Now we have no clue. We have none whatsoever. It seems like every week a new variant coming out, a different strain coming out. So yeah, I've said back before Trump got elected, I said, look, if Trump win, we all out. I got it from Uncle Joe, Joe Madison. Um, he used to say all the time, Trump win, we need to turn around and kiss our ass goodbye. Well, guess what? Trump won, and look at the aftermath. This is the aftermath from Trump winning. I feel like if we had that team in place, because he has such a hard on to change everything that President Obama put in place. And I will say this again. I feel Trump could have been a good leader if he was a leader, but he's not a leader, and he did not want to go behind a black man and keep all the things that a black man put in place for him. And I'm using race for a reason because we know Trump is a racist person. Um, we could go back from Central Park 5 when he had the young African American boys tuck out the ad in New York saying they should be lynched. Then talking about the fact he didn't want black folks living in his buildings. So that's why I call Trump a racist. So that's completely different. Um, and because Trump talked about President Obama birth certificate, he did an interview talking about I have people that have the right information. I'm gonna come out with all this information, and we're still waiting on that information. And if that was a white man, he never would have done it. So that's why I call Trump a racist. He speak bad about black folks when it come down to black folks doing things good. Matter of fact, I believe it just came out either today or yesterday. He made a comment about LeBron James should dress like a become a transsexual and be in the Olympics for the women. So that's what I'm talking about. Those are racist comments that he's using when it's dealing with black folks. And because he didn't want President Obama to win, well, guess what? He won. He got upset because he came behind him. And because he came behind him, he said, I'm going to do everything in my power to change everything he did. And that's what Trump did for the 4 years, changing policy that President Obama put in place. So because of that, that's why I don't know how everybody else feel, but I feel like that's the reason why we're still stuck in this pandemic, because he fired the team that could have prevented this. That's why I said I feel it's his fault. It started on his watch because he knew about it back in November of 2019. We didn't know about it until March of 2020. And when it got bad, he still lied about how bad it was to the American people. But behind closed doors, while he going on the radio station saying, "Oh, yeah, it's not that bad," and all of that, then he get off the air and turn around and say, "Man, this is really bad. This is bad." But until his back was up against the wall, and the guy told him he was going to write a book, well, guess what? He didn't have a choice but to come out and tell the truth. If Trump If the guy did not tell Trump he was writing a book and he was putting that in there, Trump would still deny that this is serious. He still denied today. He would still say it's not that bad. But unfortunately, it is that bad. It's way worse than what it should be. But because of poor leadership, that's where we are today. Radio said, when I sent it to you, Kurt, Dowd, the lady at the post office wanted to get one. It actually good. I'm still trying to design my studio a certain way if I can have it sitting up and that the way the head bounce. I wish they had one that the fingers will move like he texting. Um, Mick said we never had a clue why you're looking into Fucker. Check out his work during the AIDS um, payment. I'm gonna look into it because I've actually uh, I briefly seen the story and I'm like, no, that's gonna take a long time to research. Because one thing about it, we don't want to give out false information on this show. We want to stick to the truth and tell the truth. Matter of fact, if this is anybody first time that is on the show, please take the time and like, share, tell a friend, click the notification, subscribe to the channel, whatever platform you own. And you can live chat with us and be a part of the show. Um, and let us know where you're listening from, because we have people from Canada. I think we had some from the UK before. We're international. Uh, I almost started singing Prince. International love. Oh no. Um, yeah, but really, everybody is welcome on the show. Everybody don't have the same opinion, which is cool. That's what I wanted the show to be like. Um, and I know I don't want people to always agree with everything I say. Um, uh, so I'm like, hey, everybody have their own opinion. That's what I seen earlier, but I didn't get a chance to really research it. I didn't get a chance to really research it, so I said I want to research it tomorrow and look into it. But here it is. They say he's flying, but this virus is getting worse. Now it would be different if the hospital wasn't talking about um, wasn't talking about the fact that people, the numbers are going up. They're seeing they have less hospital beds now. They're seeing more and more people coming in. They're talking about how people are coming in. Matter of fact, uh, I know someone that have had the vaccine that has actually got the virus again. Well, they didn't have it the first time, but since they had been vaccinated, they um, actually was hospitalized from the virus. So this is not something I'm going by the news. These are people that are close to me that I know personally that have been vaccinated and actually end up getting the virus. So this is not something that I've read on the news, heard on the news, read it online or something like this. These are people I know. So trust me, when I tell you this, I'm like, hey, we don't know what type of effect it may have, but what we need to do is try to protect ourselves. Uh, um, let me see. You're too blinded by your views. Leadership lies to stop chaos. Obama had hid in 1 and 1, uh, which was a much more rare version of flu due to it mainly affecting people in 20s and 30s, which I fully support. Well, it's not about just my views. It's about the fact I take a lot of things in consideration before I just say stuff about people. I look at everything. With Trump, hmm, once it came out he lied, so it eliminate any other views I had about him. Because yeah, I know you don't want to get everybody up in the uproar, but Trump could have prevented a lot of this. And let me explain to you why clearly. If Trump would have came out in March and said, "Hey, this virus is bad. We need to follow the doctor's order. Everybody needs to wear a mask to prevent it from spreading." I feel our numbers would have been lower. I feel like his followers would have took heed to what he was saying, and it would have eliminated this virus or made it less likely to get it if he would have done that. But instead, he did everything opposite of what the doctors had said. So that's completely different. That's on him making those decisions. And because of the way he responded to it, um, I just didn't I didn't like the way it happened. Um, I know you saying Obama had H1N1, which was much more rare version of the flu. Um, well, that's kind of like the Ebola. When Ebola happened, is we only lost a couple of lives. That's because we had a team in place that could come up with a cure. And because they came up with a cure, that's what it was all about. But instead, what Trump decided to do, Trump decided to be the doctor also. He stopped allowing the doctors to report on the virus. And anything that the doctors did say, he went against them because he trying to dictate what we knew and didn't know about it. But honesty is the key. If you come out and say, hey, this virus is bad, we all need to protect ourselves, I think we could have got out of it probably within 6 months. Now it's been over a year. But it all depends on who interpreted it. That's all it is. He's mad Kavaka did stand up against him because I remember one interview they interviewed Faka and he said no. Then he banned Faka from talking to the media. He banned them from talking to the media. Um, Obama clearly lied over H1N1. You still okay with him? FICA said we don't need to wear a mask. Well, with the H1N1, how many people lost their lives? I understand you saying it affect people 20 to 30 years old, but how many lives was lost? And did they come up with a cure for it? How long did it take a cure to come out for it? That's all I'm asking. How long did it take? Have Ebola is less transmission, quicker and easier to diagnose, and it's spread by fluid, which make tracing easier. Well, a disease is a disease, but if we have to try to prevent it, we have to. And as for the H1N1, how many people died from it? Um, I agree. Not a single country is out of it. Not a single country is out of it. But once again, America have always been the leaders to come up with results when a pandemic break out or viral disease come out. They end up coming up with the solution, giving it to other countries, and solving it before it become a pandemic. So that's I don't agree with you about a single country is out of it. No, it's not. It's no country out of it. It's nationwide. It's all the way up in space. Allegedly. 80,000 U.S. lives lost before they ordered to stop tracking. It has no cure, and it's still part of our yearly flu season. Um, yeah, it's a strain of the flu, just like COVID is, and the difference is 80,000 lives. Was that just during President Obama administration, or was that the total loss? Because um, hold on, let me pull it up because uh, that was in 2009, and um, ooh, excuse me. Mm. Um, actually said it was in the spring 2009. No, 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 no. Trying to see, verify what you said about the death. But the thing is, here now with the coronavirus, have been a lot of people, millions of people have died nationwide, and that's uh, that's not a good situation either. The thing is, I w- I probably would not be a good politician because I'm too honest. I will tell you exactly how what's going on, how I feel. I have no second computer now. It was just one season. Yeah, one season, but right now we're going into uh let me see. Now you talking about 80,000 nationwide or just in America alone? And another thing I read on the over the weekend was a lot of cities are stop reporting the number of cases. They're not going to report the number of new cases coming out. That's because they try not to let the public know how many new cases that are coming out. Right now, as of yesterday, it's saying zero deaths, 7 day average, zero. We know that's not true. Now, here's the um, right now in the U.S., we've have had 3.07 million cases. Now it's in plus 1398 on the number of cases and plus 15 deaths, which we have had 53,171 deaths, which is it's a lot. Um, and that's just in, or is this? Yeah, that's going to be in just American alone, but nationwide, worldwide, it's over 194 million cases, 4.16 million deaths. That's a lot. Uh, yeah, yeah, a lot of these places have decided not to report them. But here's what's going to happen. One day we're going to, like I said, here in Dallas County, um, they haven't reported anything in a while. In Texas, I said Dallas County, but in Texas, the last 7 days, zero average. Um, I think the last reporting was on. No, that can't be right. Hold on. Let me look at something else because I know that's not right. Trying to see what. Okay, I was looking at the wrong thing. That was death I was looking at. But the last reporting was July the 13th. I believe was the last reporting that came out. No, that's not right. This chart is. Oh, on the 23rd, they said 25 new cases. On the 24th, 24 new cases. Um, Average 7 days is 15, but we know that's not true. So everywhere is not reporting it. And that's a problem. Everybody needs to know what's going on. Um, Radio said just America. Uh, they not reporting new cases because of who is in charge. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, it's just not showing up on the stream. And radio said Florida has had more death than all of Canada. Just Florida alone have had more death than the country of Canada. So that's just where people are. But hey, um, I lost track of time. Y'all got me working overtime today. But always try to tune in, regardless of what platform you're on. Click the notification for you can know that we are live. Um, Want to welcome everyone that participated. Want to thank everyone that participated in the show. Uh, this is, as Marcella said, the People Show. You can always be a part of the show, regardless of who you are, what your views are, because I recognize everybody have different views. I know everybody would not agree with me, but I do understand that we're all in this together. Only thing I'm gonna do is talk about the facts that I feel that is the truth. And regardless of who it's about, we need to do our own research and find out for yourself. So tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Time, we will be back. I will be looking at um, Rad Paul, look at him, and also some other things. Um, so hopefully y'all will join us tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Time. Mick debates. I know you said you're working. Hopefully you have a safe night at work, and continue to tune in whenever you can. If you can't catch us live, you can catch the replays that normally come on um, at 1 a.m. If you don't catch that, you can always go back and watch the shows. And radio, I appreciate you, T. Cal, Marcellus, and everyone else that have tuned in. So until tomorrow night, if the good Lord say the same, I will see y'all then. Love each and every one of you. Till then.